All right, folks, real quick today we're going to talk about the corrupt deal happening in between, actually, James Monroe and John Quincy Adams' administration. So, the year we're talking about, 1824. It's an election year. James Monroe has served both of his terms in office, and so the young upstart John Quincy Adams, who served as his Secretary of State, is potentially running for president. So 1824, it's time for the folks to hit the ballot. It's time to go out and vote. But in 1824, the voting process and who actually gets to vote is going to look a whole lot different than it has before, because the vote is going to open up to a brand new population of people, and that is, boom, white people. But it's actually a new class of white people, or white individuals within the United States that are voting, because prior to this, you actually had to own land in order to be able to vote. But in 1824, many states had gotten rid of their land-based requirement in order to allow people to vote. So the voting process and who actually gets to go out and vote for president or congressman and all that good stuff actually does open up a lot more during this time period. So universal white male suffrage is what's going on here, meaning every white person, dude, gets to vote. So still limitations based on race, still limitations based on gender, but the vote is opening up because, once again, that land requirement has been dropped. So all white men within the United States are now allowed to vote in 1824. So you get a new class of people that are actually able to vote in this election. And most of them are concentrated in this region in the South. And most of them don't have very much money, and most of them don't have much of an education either. So it's not a super intelligent group of people, and it's not a super wealthy group of people as compared to those that had previously voted, but still, it's a new group of people, and it's an extremely large quantity too. So in 1820, when you didn't have universal male suffrage, universal white male suffrage, you only had about 87,000 people that participated in the vote. But in 1824, it goes up to almost 356,000 people in 1824. And that'll make any Owen Wilson go, wow. So, who's running? Well, the biggest and the baddest of the individuals and the party favorite to win is this guy, Andrew Jackson. And he is beloved by this new population that can vote. These farmers that live down in the South, they absolutely love this man. And why? Well, it's because Jackson is super cool. Jackson is their guy. He's a general, serves in the military. They respect that because a good amount of these individuals did. He came from an agrarian background, lives out in Tennessee, has a plantation, makes his money off of agriculture, and he's just an extremely popular individual because of the Battle of New Orleans. He is a celebrity within the United States, and the people absolutely love this guy, at least in the South, and if they are farmers. But that's a huge population of people. So it's looking like Jackson is going to win. Who else is running? Well, we got John Quincy Adams. He's the son of John Adams. We've got this guy, Henry Clay. He's the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He's one of the big competitors, too, that are running against our man Andrew Jackson. And also we have this guy down here. But we're not going to talk about him because he's not important. Also, threw a little farmer there just to remind you once again that Jackson, he is the farmer's people. That is who is voting for Andrew Jackson. These southern farmers, this new group that can now vote. These poorer individuals. Because once again, they feel like Jackson is their representative. He is their kind of president. So, here are the results from the election of 1824. So, if you look at it, the Electoral College, which actually selects the president, they pick Jackson. It's a majority. It's not a very strong majority, but he does end up getting 99 votes to John Quincy Adams' 84. But unfortunately, no one got the required 131 votes, so this sort of, in a kind of way, counts as a tie. And when there is a tie in the Electoral College, it then goes to the House of Representatives. Boom! For them to vote on the president. Well, that's when things get a little bit trippy. So what ends up happening is Adams kind of looks over at Henry Clay while they're casting their votes in the House of Representatives. And so what Adams says is essentially, hey, Clay, how about you get everybody that would have voted for you to then vote for me, because Adams figured there's no way Henry Clay's going to win, and he's smart enough to realize that. But if I can get Henry Clay to get his boys to vote for me, well, then I will make him Secretary of State because I will become president. And so Henry Clay, because he sees the deal here, because secretaries of state in previous administrations had become the president, he's like, okay. So he gets everybody to vote for John Quincy Adams, thereby leaving Jackson the loser, which he's pretty upset about. And so is the population that would have voted for him too. These farmers in the South, these poorer individuals, these less educated individuals in the United States, they're pretty upset. So Jackson, being as upset as he is, he actually ends up splitting off of the Democratic-Republican Party altogether and creates his own party, the Democrats. And I'll tell you the story about how they get their mascot in class. And keep in mind that these are not the Democrats that we have today. They're a very different looking group of Democrats, mostly made up of Southern farmers. Mostly.